Yo, what's up everybody? We're on the Season 7 Early Access servers for Rivals, and here we are. We are on the newest hero coming to Rivals, a strategist White Fox. And let me tell you guys, this hero looks pretty damn good. I do think that they cooked, if I do say so myself. So let's go over her abilities if you guys are curious to know what she does. First off, here's her F1 page, if you guys want to read that. There you go. Next, let's see her primary, shall we? So it's a projectile that she sends out. It's a pretty good amount of healing. It's about like, I want to say like 70 or something. But the key thing here is that it will actually bounce to another target, sort of like Moon Knight. It's actually exactly like Moon Knight, and it seems to be about like 5 meters. And you'll actually notice something interesting here. When I shoot this bot's right shoulder, it will actually not bounce to this other one, but if I shoot his left side, it will actually bounce. So yeah, it's got a little bit of a range, some like passive AoE healing. Oh, and another thing worth noting, it will also hit enemies.
Heroes don't wait for opportunity to strike.
So if I shoot this bot,
I sense them.
as you can see, it's doing some nice little splash damage. And now it's worth noting that it will do half of, whether it be like healing or damage, half of the value of the first bounce on the second. So your first target will always receive more damage or more healing than your second one, if that makes sense. So this first bot should get like full healing, and then the second one should get a little bit less. I am pretty sure. At least that's how it works for damage. Maybe for healing it's not. But in either case, it's not. It's a little bit of a min-max, I suppose, if it does work that way, which I think it does, at least for damage. So anyway, let's move on to her next ability, which is her blink. So as you can see here, she can blink to a target, which drops like the shield on them, and it will also heal her for a little bit of health. Not too much. It's about like 50 health, I'd say. Let's see. Yeah, around 70, 75-ish, I guess. And it will also heal your target instantly for the same amount and spawn a barrier on them, which is pretty cool. And it's worth noting she can actually use this through walls. So even if this bot is like, you know, say you see a teammate, they're critical, you can just blink on them and instantly start healing them. Drop a shield as well. Really cool. Yeah, pretty simple ability, that one. Okay, now let's talk about her right click, which is a very interesting ability. So her right click is basically a charm that she sends out in a line, and everyone hit will be forced to move towards you. It's kind of like Ari from League, I suppose, except it lasts a little bit less. It's a very, very short stun, very brief. Now, worth noting that this ability takes a little bit more skill to land than you think. Like, I know it looks really big, but you actually need to hit them with the fox itself in order to get the charm effect. So if I just shoot them like this, you'll notice it will only do the damage, and it won't actually do the charming effect until I actually aim directly at them. And another effect that this has is it's actually an invulnerability. So for a very, very brief moment, I want you guys to look at my allies' health bars. You notice how they turn yellow? That's because they're invulnerable. And this ability has 3 uses. It's these tails, right? And it has a 6-second cooldown in between uses. And you seem to generate about 1 tail every 10 seconds or so. But doing damage makes you charge it faster, or healing. So I think she's pretty much always just gonna have this up if you're, you know, being active. So yeah, it doesn't seem very hard at all to charge these tails. And another ability it interacts with is her third ability, which is her melee mode. So when I go into my melee mode, as you can see, I need a tail to go into it, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna last longer based on let me actually just check that. Yeah, so it continues to drain spirit tails to heal allies. Yeah, it will last longer based on how much tails you have. So see, like, you used all 3 of them there to sustain that. So when we went into it, it was like, what, 10 seconds? But if I use it now, it's gonna be 8. So it seems like it to be 6 seconds at a baseline, and then if you have max tails, it will last 10 seconds. 8 if you have 2. So yeah, that's what you kind of spend your tails on, I suppose. And you might be wondering what that does. So the E form, the box form awakening, it will spawn this area around you where you passively heal your allies. This is a pretty strong cooldown, actually. You passively heal your allies, which is nice. And any enemy you hit, like, I can't really showcase this, but it's kind of like Strategist Deadpool, where you see how I'm pulsing an aura. Anybody who's in this big ass radius. So if I hit this enemy, as you can see, I will heal everybody in this radius. And it's like a very solid amount of healing, right? So that's what happens with her melees. She has two abilities. Number one, her primaries, as you already saw, they become melee when she goes melee. Another thing that will happen is she gets access to two new abilities in this form. The first is just a tail swipe. It does a bit more damage than a regular M1, regular attack. And it will also knock enemies up into the air. It's a bit of displacement. And her second ability is a two-part ability where she will first dash and do a bit of damage to you. And then she can reactivate that in 6 seconds to push an enemy in, which is pretty nice. So again, more displacement. And then her ultimate is she has another ability. It's in her ult. So you turn into you turn into a fox, and you cannot be healed. That's an important thing. And also, you can be stunned. You can be frozen. You can anything. You are fully susceptible to CC. Like, it will give you a second life bar. But you cannot be healed in this mode. The only way you can heal is by actually dealing damage. And again, it's kind of like in her E, it will spawn this like field. It's like a stronger version of her E, essentially, where this will heal a little bit more. And then any ally you hit, again, like if you hit an enemy, any ally in this big range will get like, including yourself, actually. So if I take a little bit of damage here, these bots, it's gonna be hard to show this because I'm on my own. But yeah, she has a massive hitbox. Like, the tails actually count. It's very easy to pull her off the map as Spiderman. We've tested that. Yeah, she will heal herself for quite a bit, especially if you're hitting multiple enemies. It can be really hard to kill her. But then again, she can't be healed, and if you get stunned, you will die very fast. So do keep that in mind. And she gains access to a new ability, which when she's in her ult, which is this right click, that makes people CC immune. As you can see, the bot has like a yellow bar on his health. That's a full 3 seconds of CC immunity, but it does take 100 health to cast it. But I can pretty much spam this as much as I want, but it is taking 100 health every time I do this. And yeah, that's her kid. I think she's pretty cool. One more thing, I suppose I didn't talk about her team up, which she has with Luna, which basically just gives her like access to White Fox's right click, which is a charm. Right? It does a charm. It doesn't actually. It only heals. It doesn't actually give you the invulnerability that White Fox has, but it does charm. So if they both combo this at the same time, like, it could be a lot of pressure, be a lot of damage. Yeah, pretty cool. Before I talk about what I think about her, obviously I need to show you guys just the crazy one-shot combos, or should I call them touch of death combos to not piss people off? Because every time I call something a one-shot combo, there's some fucking dude complaining about it. But either case, the quickest 100 health to 0 health combo. There we go. I said it correctly. Hopefully, no one is bad about that one. Anyway, is you start with in human form. You need one tail for this. You will just use your charm, okay, and then you'll enter your melee mode. Then you will immediately dash an enemy. You will left click once, right click, and then dash and hold left click as you're doing that. So when done really fast, that looks like this. Yeah, so you can do quite a lot of damage. But I'll be honest, I know this looks really crazy. It's a lot of damage. But pulling this off against bots was kind of hard. It was actually really difficult for me to do this, because your enemies will be moving while you're doing this move where you flip around them. So it's really important to actually hit them with this charm, because what's going to happen is while you're hitting them with their charm, they're forced into like a predictable movement pattern, right? Which is like straight ahead. It does last very briefly, but it makes it a lot easier to line up this displacement dash, the follow-up. It makes it a lot easier if you hit this. If you miss this and you only get the damage, like, the rest of your combo will kind of like fail, because you'll only get the damage and people will be moving. So by the time this ability puts you behind them, they're already going to be like in a different spot, and it'll be really hard to combo them. Yeah, this character seems really I want to say she's strong, but I don't think that's going to be how she's perceived at launch, because a lot of people, what they're going to try to do on her is they're going to try to like sit and just heal bot with her. But this isn't Gambit. This character's ult isn't actually like, you know, like a traditional support, like an insta win button. It's really strong, but you don't just like press it and then your team is invincible. You know, it's only like, it's pretty much kind of like almost like support Deadpool levels of healing on press. It's not really that much. And as we know with this character, Not a lot of people play him. His ult isn't super great, and her ult is sort of similar to that healing wise, except like obviously like you can heal more by like actually hitting people, which is actually kind of I guess similar to support pull. But yeah, her ult lasts 12 seconds, and yeah, you can give allies invulnerability. People they'll try doing is they'll try just like sitting lane and heal botting, and I found actually that her healing wasn't that insane, especially if you're missing. Like if you're just doing this, her healing does feel kind of pathetic, I'll be honest. Like it's not a lot of healing just doing this. You really need to be like, you need to be, I think, flanking with this character. Well, not flanking, but like supporting a dive. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think this is like a general character that you can pick and she will be good in all situations, sort of like, you know, your traditional like, you know, Gambit, Rocket, I guess maybe not Loki because he depends on it all, but you know what I mean, like these healers that like will just output a steady, like invis, you know, they'll output a steady amount of healing and they're just reliable sources of healing. I think White Fox is a little bit different. Like I mean, her healing definitely isn't nothing to scoff at, but it's a little bit weaker than those other heroes, and not to mention that since her ult is I believe is probably weaker than Gambit, at least at first impressions. Like you will die really fucking fast in this ult if you're CC'd. If you're allowed to just, you know, spam your left clicks, she's actually quite tanky. She's really hard to take down if you're just allowed to do this. But oftentimes you're probably gonna get stunned. You're gonna get you know, you're gonna get stopped in some way. So you want to have your team there. It's not like a solo I'll go in ult and kill everyone. It's just not how it works. And it also doesn't do too much damage. It's about like, I want to say, yeah, 50 damage per slam. It's not too much damage. It's more about the utility that you're keeping your team alive. So everything that this character does, it feels like she kind of wants to support a dive. You know what I mean? Because she wants to go in and her ult wants her to go in, and her blink is like, you know, you can go across the map and appear on a diver, so it's very easy to reposition yourself to where they are. I think this character might actually end up playing how I believed Gambit was going to play. So if y'all remember when I said, when I was reviewing Gambit the first time, I thought like, you know, he's going to be like a sort of like a dive support because, you know, he has 2 dashes and he actually does really good damage. So I was like, yeah, you're going to play him as a dive support. But no, what ended up happening with Gambit is you're not able to play him that way because his ult is just way too powerful. And by the way, they still haven't really nerfed this thing at all. It's still really broken. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit less speed, I guess, but like, it just doesn't make that much of a difference, and a bit less ult regen. It's still strong. They also gave it a random ass compensation buff. What are we doing, Jiyoung? Why are we buffing Gambit ult? Are we crazy? Anyway, that's back to White Fox. You guys understand. I don't think this character will be like Gambit. She's gonna end up playing how I thought Gambit was gonna play, which is to like support dive. I really genuinely don't think this character is gonna be good. If you're just sitting main, doing this to your team, like just right clicking them every now and then to give them a brief window of invulnerability, you're not gonna really be doing anything, you know? Not to mention that if this character takes any chip damage, you kind of don't have any way to heal yourself. I mean, there is your blink, which is like a one-time heal of like 77, as you can see there. But other than that, like, you kind of need to go into your E to get this like self-heal, which is a really long cooldown. So you don't want to be like doing that, or you really want to, I mean, it's like 15 seconds. So yeah, I'll just deactivate it. It's 15 seconds here. You don't want to be like doing that, right? You really, like, what you want to be doing with this hero is like doing some risky stuff and looking for plays, looking to pocket your like divers. I really don't think she's gonna be that good just being played main, and yeah, you guys are gonna have to like, you're gonna have to figure out how to get value out of I think her E ability, the transformation. Like you're really gonna want to look for some like displacements, whether that be on a tank or like an overextending product position like poke character or something. I don't know. You just want to get value out of that. That's going to be really important. I think so many people are going to be like disappointed in this character because they're going to try to play her something like Rocket, you know, where they just sit main and heal their team. They're going to try to play like Cloak and Dagger, and that's just not going to work because her ult isn't insane. Or I mean, it is. Her ult is really good, but it's not like a traditional support ult where you just press Q and you win the game. It doesn't work like that. Also, I noticed one thing about her ult: you cannot transform back. So you're like, you can't just leave the ult. You need to sit through the whole 12 seconds of being in the Fox. And yeah, I mean, I think she's gonna be really good. I think she's gonna support dive, but I think day one, people are gonna feed their brains out on this character. It's gonna be insane. People will be feeding their brains off. I promise you, every White Fox, while they're figuring it out, they're gonna be either completely useless because they're just sitting main and doing this and not getting much value, or they're gonna, you know, look for plays, you know, look for her like burst combo on key targets and probably end up dying, which is like gonna be part of learning this character. Like, this character is really hard to play. She is surprisingly hard. I actually thought when I first saw her, my first impression was that she was gonna be like a character that just sits main and heals, and my worry was that, you know, people aren't even gonna use this ability because this seems so strong, especially from the trailer. It seems like he was doing a lot of damage, but now that I actually got my hands to play it, it doesn't actually seem that crazy. And yeah, this character looks super sick. I might actually add her to my pool of heroes. We'll see. I want to experiment with her a little bit. I do really like this combo, but as I said, I do think it's a practical combo. I do think it's good. I messed it up there. I do think it's good, but there's a lot that could go wrong, you know. But it is like the damage is there. The kill pressure is there. Like, you can absolutely delete somebody by doing this. Once again, it's like you use your I guess I'll just do the ability names. You do spectral surge, and then you transform, and then you use your dash. You do left click, right click, dash, all like after one another really fast. It looks a little bit strange because of ping, but yeah, that's pretty much the whole combo. I'm literally just like, what I'm doing is I'm holding down left click, and then I press right click after my after one of my swings comes out, and then I'm just, you know, holding down left click again. It's pretty simple, not that hard to execute. I don't think there's too much mechanical depth. I don't know, overall, I think this character's good. I'm excited to see. I don't think she's gonna be like praised very highly on launch. I think people are gonna say that she's weak, but I think that she's fun and she's very fucking unique, especially compared to other supports. Like, this is a very, very unique character, and it's super, super interesting. It just enables dive so much. Like, just think about, like, I don't know, you have like a Daredevil on your team, and he goes in, and a White Fox like just blinks in with the Daredevil, and then like she charms, and like imagine like you're shooting your Daredevil and you're healing him while you're also damaging the enemy, or you damage the enemy and it will also heal your Daredevil, or like even with the ult, right? Imagine pocketing like giving a Daredevil ult CC immunity, or like Deadpool ult, like Iron Fist, like all these characters that are kind of like susceptible to CC during their ultimates. Like, just being able to like protect them and pocket them in that way is just going to be so crazy. I do sort of wish that she had like a little bit more movement options in the Fox form. Like, the only thing you can do in the Fox form, like in your ult, is like pretty much just right click, which gives allies like this invulnerability, and just like do this little ground slam. I feel like she's sort of missing something, but I don't know. Man, you know what? I'm not a game dev. Maybe they, you know, they probably know better than me. There must be a reason it's like this, and I do think that there's potential. There's potential regardless. She's a great character, and I'm really excited to experiment with her a little bit. I'm going to be playing on the season launch. Probably going to be playing with KG, who is beyond excited to get his hands on the Rivals version of Kiriko, even though I think she plays completely differently. I don't think she... The thing with this character, a lot of people are going to obviously draw comparisons to Kiriko because of the aesthetics, but I don't think they play similar at all. Like, Kiriko's a lot more independent, and this character is more like, you're not gonna solo flank. Like, this damage isn't really that high. Like, are you really gonna be killing someone like this? Like, probably not. You know what I mean? Probably not. I mean, maybe you could look for some like surprise combos on somebody, because like if you hit a nice combo, then you can just immediately leave. You can look for picks. There's gonna be people who are gonna try playing her like this, but I think she's gonna excel the most at being played with other dive characters, which is perfect because I play dive characters. So I hope to see her. She's definitely good. I mean, I think dive characters could use a little bit of love. Maybe not so much in the lower elos, probably really strong, but in the higher elos, they definitely struggle compared to like poke characters. So it's good that we have an option that we can pick that synergizes really well with them, and I'm really excited to see what this character is going to do for the game. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about White Fox. I think she's really cool. I'm excited. I think she's our first ever actual support that's supposed to pocket dive characters and then will be played, and that's like, in my opinion, the only viable playstyle. But we'll see. That's just my early predictions. And let me know what you guys think about White Fox. Thank you all for watching. I will see you guys. We're gonna be testing her out. If you're watching this video on release, probably like midnight my time, and I will be trying her pretty much first thing in the morning as soon as I'm back from the gym. So yeah, If you guys want to see how she works, come check out my stream. I'm playing against bots probably, so you'll get more familiar with her mechanics if you are interested in playing her. So yeah, I'll see you guys then there. Peace. See you guys.